Welcome back to We Talk Boxing, and today I will be doing a brief pre-fight analysis and fight prediction for the fight versus Josie Parker versus Joe Joyce. So before we begin, as usual, please subscribe, like, comment and share for more boxing related content so you could help to try and promote this channel a little bit more with myself. So both boxers have excellent boxing records, with Joseph Parker having 30 wins in 32 fights, with 21 KOs and only suffering 2 losses as well, which those 2 losses came back to back, against AJ and Dillian White back in 2018, where both fights were unanimous decision losses as well. Whereas Joe Joyce, on the other hand, has 14 wins with 13 KOs to his name and no defeats as well. So again, both guys, have impeccable boxing records as well. So hopefully this could be a good matchup as well. Now, obviously, when comparing both boxers' physical stats, Joe Joyce obviously is the older man by 6 years, but he also started his career a little bit later than Josie Parker. He started in 2018, whereas Josie Parker began his career back in 2012. Joe Joyce also is the taller man, being 6'2", so he's having that 2-inch advantage over Joseph Parker as well. And he's also got a reach advantage as well of up to 4.5, 4 give or take inches compared to Parker as well. And he's also got a better KO rating as well of 93% compared to the New Zealand boxer, who has 66% KO rating as well. So as mentioned, just obviously Parker is a New Zealand boxer who is currently based in the UK, fighting out of Morecambe, where he trains closely with the Furies and has built up that good relationship with with Team Fury. Do you know what I mean? So as I mentioned in my pre-fight, video, if obviously Josie Parker does win this fight and he chooses to go down the WBC route, I don't feel as if he will take on Tyson Fury due to that close relationship as well with him. So when looking at, both guys, recent fights, this will be Parker's first fight this year, as he's been out injured, and he's recently signed with a new promotion company. So, he's not been as active, but he did have 3 fights in 2021, so there's going to be a little bit of ring rust there. Whereas Joe Joyce, has recently fought. He fought back in July, I think, and I think it was against Christian Hammer as well. But prior to that, he's only had, one fight in 2021. Meaning, as I said, both guys may have some sort of ring rust, during this bout, and it might not be as sharp, and it might take just a couple of rounds, maybe just to ease into it a little bit before they start letting their hands fly a little bit more as well. Now, the caliber of opposition each fighter has fought to date has been good, to be fair. Now, Josie Parker, he shared the rings with the likes of Carlos Takam, Andy Ruiz, Hughie Fury, AJ, Dillian White, Junior Farr, Derek Chisora twice, so he's been in there with some very, very big names and some good fighters as well. Whilst Joe Joyce, has been shared the ring with the likes of, Ian Lewison, sorry, Bermain Stavern, Alexander Ustinov, Brian Jennings, Daniel Dubois, Carlos Takam, and as previously mentioned, Christian Hammer recently as well. So again, he's been in there with some good guys as well, potentially not as good as what Parker's been in there with, but he's been in there with some decent operators as well. Now, I know you can never really compare, opponents' face, because sometimes, obviously, when certain boxers have fought each other's opponents, you have to obviously take into consideration the time, when that fighter's fought that opponent, the time in their career, how active they were prior, do you know what I mean? And obviously when they faced them, what sort of run were they coming off, etc., etc. But, these guys do share a common opponent in Carlos Takam, where Joe Joyce obviously fought him in 2012, obviously winning by a 6-round TKO, whilst Josie Parker faced Takam back in 2016, do you know what I mean? And he won by points, a unanimous decision as well. And, you can see the difference, in in Carlos Takens that both of these guys have fought. Obviously, Parker fought the younger Taka, and obviously that gave him a little bit more trouble. Where Joyce obviously fought him later on, and obviously claimed that TKO stoppage as well. But you know what I mean, as I suggest, you know what I mean, it's you can't really take much into this really, but that's the only guys, sorry, that these fighters have shared the ring with. So again, just trying to throw in a little bit more stats there. Also, you know what I mean, both guys have good boxing skills as well. And you know what I mean, they could both of these guys can box on the inside or on the outside, to be fair. But I feel that Parker, do you know what I mean, will potentially be slightly stronger, you know what I mean, on the outside, whereas Joe Joyce would be stronger on the inside as well. And again, at that close range, potentially Joyce, you know what I mean, may be able to cause a little bit more damage to Parker, softening him up a little bit, you know what I mean, and potentially maybe even wearing him down and that as well before, you know what I mean, taking the fight back out to the outside. Where, as I said, just, you know what I mean, Parker is a little bit more, I feel he's a little bit more stronger on the outside, where when it comes to throwing his shots. But, you know what I mean, it's going to be interesting. But anyway, both guys are also quite durable as well. You know what I mean? They haven't been KO'd. And, you know what I mean? To my knowledge as well, I don't think they've been down many times in their career. So, you know what I mean? They've, you know what I mean? Plus, they've been in there with some good opposition as well. But I feel that, you know what I mean? For me, Joe Joyce, you know what I mean? With his constant pressure and his work rate, maybe a little bit too high for Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? As he doesn't necessarily box, you know what I mean, with a high work rate at times. And he mainly, for me anyway, reacts or throws punches at a conservative rate. Just like he's not as fit or maybe, you know what I mean, confident to go the distance, and he only throws when he needs really. But also, you know what I mean, I feel that, you know what I mean, hopefully we can see both of these guys going toe to toe with each other. And if they do, you know what I mean, it could become interesting fight then, because it could come down to who wants it more. Okay, finally, I'm gonna give my prediction for this fight. Do you know what I mean? And I'm gonna say that, you know what I mean, Joe Joyce wins on points. Maybe, you know what I mean, even a late stoppage. You know what I mean? I know both guys are durable, do you know what I mean, and haven't, you know what I mean, lost on by KO or anything like that. But you know what I mean, I feel as if, you know what I mean, Joe Joyce definitely on points, but if there's gonna be a stoppage, and if there is a stoppage, it's gonna come late, and it's gonna be by Joyce for me. I just feel as if, look, as I said, you know what I mean, that work rate, do you know what I mean, that relentlessness, do you know what I mean, will potentially just maybe be a little bit too much for Josie Parker in the latter rounds. But as I said, you know what I mean, Josie Parker has been in there with some big hitters as well, and he hasn't been knocked out, and he stayed the distance many times on many occasions as well. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts, that's my predictions. You know what I mean? I want to know what you guys think about this matchup, and who do you think wins, and by what method? Stoppage, KO, points. Do you know what I mean? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, subscribe, like, comment, and share for more boxing related content. Bless.